Okay, I want to come at you with this and kind of discuss this whole guillotine thing. And it's been quite a little adventure trying to get actual evidence of this. Regarding this bill number 1274 in the Georgia House of Representatives. Now, I got a couple of articles I'm going to be sharing with you here, so this might take a little bit of time. I'm going to try not to keep it too long, but um, this is out of remnantofgod.org. Okay, and I'll post a link to it below so you can read it yourself. And he's got a screenshot here of the Georgia House of Representatives 95 to 96 sessions HB 1274 death penalty guillotine provisions. Okay, and this is a bill to be entitled an act. Again, this was in 95-96, so a little bit ago. To amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to the death penalty. Okay, generally so as to provide a statement of legislative policy to provide for death by guillotine. To provide for applicability to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. The General Assembly finds that while prisoners condemned to the death may wish to donate one or more of their organs for transplant, any such desire is thwarted by the fact that electrocution makes all such organs unsuitable for transplant. The intent of the General Assembly in enacting this legislation is to provide for a method of execution which is compatible with the donation of organs by a condemned prisoner. Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to show you that, um, he provided the link right here. So I go ahead and click on it. Okay, I go on and click on it, and this is what I find. It's empty. There's nothing there. All right. So I mean, I wasn't done. So I went to other places that had this same article, or not the same article, but um, the same thing. And you had this article from Exercise Your Free Speech, News Opinion, Monthly Free Forums, Save America Foundation. Um, and it goes on to say that fortunately for those terrified by the sleeping giant, dutiful machine propaganda mills were there to assure us that there was nothing to it. On About.com, did the federal government just purchase 30,000 guillotines? The answer is no. Did the United States Congress approve the purchase of 30,000 guillotines for government purposes to be used under coming martial law? And this was off of Microsoft Network. The answer was false. So, all have peace, folks. Ain't got nothing to fear. The U.S. government has purchased a stockpile of 30,000 guillotines. Okay. Um, Again, that was false. That was according to Snopes. But again, here's this guy. This writer. He puts up this following article of the same bill. And again, this wasn't good enough for me. You know, so it's like, okay, how am I going to find this? Because I want to find out for myself to see if this bill actually um, is legit. Okay. But he goes on further in this article. In 2011, upstart Israelis were being a nuisance, camping in the center of Tel Aviv, complaining that contractor companies are organized crime. Where they came up with that idea, no one knows. And suddenly, in the middle of their protest, a guillotine was placed right there on Rothschild Boulevard. Get the message, pesky peasants? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on this link that he provides. And this is off of ynetnews.com. Guillotine display stuns Rothschild's tent city. This was in August 11th of 2011. French Revolution symbol becomes main attraction at Tel Aviv's protest center as rallies continue to spread across country. Protest leaders say Beersheba to hold next mass rally. So, I mean, it seems like they're getting more and more out in the open about this. But again, my main focus was finding out where this bill was. So again, after looking and looking, the same individual that wrote this article provided a link here. So I clicked on it, and voila, this pops up. Georgia House of Representatives 95-96 sessions. And it goes on to say a bill to be entitled an act, and here it is. To amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of the Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to the death penalty, generally so as to provide a statement of legislative policy to provide for death by guillotine. Again, that wasn't good enough for me, so I wanted to search even further. Okay, so this is what I did. I went to the official Georgia General Assembly. When on 2013-2014, you go in and type in the number 1274, it's not going to show up in your results. Alright. But, you go to previous sessions. Let's try this again. You go to 95-96. Go to House Legislation. And click on HB 1200. And go all the way down to 1274. Voila. Death penalty guillotine provisions. Click on it, and there it is. It's stored away in their archives, folks. They didn't get rid of it. They just hid it so where it won't be easily found. So, I mean, this bill is legit. This bill was written out, and this isn't some crazy conspiracy theory. I mean, this is fact, and I just proved this to you. Now, back to this article here. I'm going to show you a couple of quotes. National issue, one court for all the world. This is out of July 16th, 1998, Los Angeles, California, Investment Business Daily. A United Nations meeting in Rome is wrapping up 5 weeks of work on a proposed international criminal court. The new court would have worldwide jurisdiction and could investigate, indict, hold, try, and punish those who committed certain crimes. The proposal international court would subject Americans to a new world authority. We're talking about creating here something that exercises genuine power, real put people in jail power, but that is responsible to no one but itself, said Lee Casey, a constitutional lawyer with the Washington firm of Hunton and Williams. Goes on further here. Bill Clinton on USA Today, 1993, quote, "We can't be so fixated on our desire to preserve the rights of ordinary Americans." Here's a pro-family activist, says the governor of Virginia, Joe Glover, this guy here, believes that people of faith are a threat to the world. One of the greatest threats facing our world comes from those who believe they are acting out God's will no matter what religion they practice. By Rusty Pugh, May 22nd, 2002, Agape Press. You have Christians accused of inciting hatred. Christian group has been accused of vilifying Muslims, religious hate laws. Catch the Fire Ministries incited hatred against the Islamic faith. So you got all this kind of stuff going on. And here's Fernando Meissonier discusses his career as a professional executioner in Algeria. He goes on to say, Fernand Meissonier has me by the head with 4 meaty fingers behind each of my ears. He is tugging me forward out of my seat. It doesn't exactly hurt, but the effect is certainly unsettling. That's the way to do it. You've got to make sure you don't hold the guy too near the neck, or you could have an accident. It happened. There were people who lost 2 or 3 fingers, he says. Mr. Meissonier is or was an executioner in 20 years from 1947. He helped to guillotine the heads off more than 200 people. Okay, the vast majority of them Arabs in French Algeria. During the war there, he was taken off 5 or 6 per month. So again, even though this was back in 1947, this is still rather modern. I mean, 60 years. A little over 60 years. So there's nothing new under the sun. Okay. Fernand started off as a junior assistant with the task of tying the convict's ankles and thighs with fishing wire. Then his hands were handcuffed behind his back and his elbows trussed together. This has the effect of making the head stick out, which was what we wanted, he says. You come out with an incredible sense of power. Only God could do that. And this was from a former executioner in Algeria. Back in 2004, French decapitated protesters. So, I mean, this is going on and on and on. Now, on to Obamacare. Alright. So, what do we have here? Well, before I go to the World Health Organization codes that is going to have a strong tie-in with Obamacare, I want to play you this video. This is recent. May 1st, 2014. Oklahoma's botched lethal injection marks new front in battle over executions. This is kind of interesting how they're coming out with this, because notice how you've seen in the bill. Notice how you've seen in the bill that, I mean, this was in 95, 96, so electrocutions were still taking place. But the General Assembly finds that while prisoners condemned to death may wish to donate one or more of their organs for transplant, any such desire is thwarted by the fact that electrocution makes all such organs unsuitable for transplant. I believe this is why they ended up bringing in the lethal injection in the first place. The intent of the General Assembly in enacting this legislation is to provide for a method of execution which is compatible with the donation of organs by a condemned prisoner. And that is the best way that you can donate organs, is if you have execution by guillotine. Okay, you ain't got no injections happening. You ain't got nothing being fried within, from electrocution. It's all clean. You get your head lobbed off, and that's it. You can donate as much organs as you want. I'm being a little graphic, but that's true. But now this pops up. Oklahoma's botched lethal injection marks new front in battle over executions. Here's the video.
It didn't appear that the drugs failed in this situation, but rather the process. The vein actually blew, meaning you weren't getting the drugs into the system the way they thought they were. What typically happens is that 3 drugs are given. There's an IV placed in each arm. One IV is used as a backup in case the other one fails. And the first drug that's given is usually something that just sedates somebody and makes them unaware of their surroundings. The second drug is essentially a paralytic. It's called vecuronium. It paralyzes the muscles in the body, including the diaphragm. That's the important point. If your diaphragm is paralyzed, you can no longer breathe. And the last drug is potassium chloride, which essentially causes cardiac arrest, stops the heart, and causes death. That's the way that it's supposed to work, and it's supposed to go in that order. In this case, it appears that the vein through which the medications were being given, it blew open, and as a result, instead of going into the blood, much of the medication went into the soft tissue. You still get some of the medication, but it looked like not enough. So it's an imperfect system, but if this process had worked, and someone was given a drug that rendered them completely unaware of what was happening, essentially unconscious, then it would have been a much more humane process. They wouldn't have felt the diaphragm paralyzing. They wouldn't have felt the heart going into cardiac arrest. That didn't happen in this situation. That's probably going to force us to revisit it altogether.
Okay, so how interesting. You had this bill pop up in 95, 96, and they basically went into the whole aspect of lethal injection. Now this comes out purposely, I might add, to the aspect of this is a imperfect system, and if you go down just a little bit, let's see, on a thing here called Lethal Injection Questions. Clayton Lockett's botched lethal injection and deadly heart attack raises disturbing questions about how the U.S. executes death row prisoners. Alright. Now I'm going to take you over to this article here. And this is according to Pamela Schufert, who runs a website called AmericanHolocaust.blogspot.com, I believe. Why are modern guillotines on military bases in America? He goes, according to Pamela Schufert, there is no doubt in my mind that guillotines are being stored on selected military bases in America. Pamela Schufert had first-hand conversations with people who have seen them. I'm equally convinced that crematoriums have been installed on many of the larger FEMA concentration camps, both here on the mainland and in Hawaii. Schufert accurately foretold of coming events when she titled her website American Holocaust from its inception in the 1990s. Ronald Reagan, New World Order bedtime bonzo that he was, sold us out by signing away our fate to the dictates of Chabad Lubavitch Rabbi with the Talmudic interpretation of the noahide laws enshrined in public law. 102-14, signed in 1983 by Bonzo. This federal statutory law, which can be invoked at any time, established the legal grounds for execution by decapitation anyone who is found guilty of Avodah Zarah, idol worship, which according to Halachic Judaism authority Maimonides includes anyone who worships Jesus Christ. Okay. Also, that's also would include any Christians that observe the Sabbath too, because the Sabbath is only supposed to be for the Jews, even according to Maimonides here. And yes, obviously, we say, well, Catholics worship Jesus Christ, so would that include them? Well, technically, no, because I think Judaism understands that their version of Jesus Christ is not the version that they're concerned with. They're concerned with the ones that true Bible believing Christians are preaching. So this is who this Jesus Christ will be concerned with. Our shamefully dumbed down American public refuses to take these warnings seriously because they cannot imagine that the betrayal is as huge as it actually is, and they are so utterly dependent on what they witness locally. Normalcy bias. It's not happening in my little hometown, so I ain't got nothing to worry about. People got to drop that attitude. Meaning that since they don't see the 12-foot high barbed wire fence around FEMA concentration camps in their neighborhoods, they must not exist, and this woman is merely making up wild stories. Woe to you, foolish America, when they come for you and your family. Okay, so there's that article. So again, I showed you how you can look for this article, and I'll provide with the links below that this bill is accurate, that they do have bills in this country to that will provide death by guillotine. Okay, so after all that I did trying to look for it, I finally found it. So now, what about this ICD-9 code? Okay, International Medical and Legal Execution Coding brought under Obamacare. ICD-9 International Medical Coding. This is from November 18, 2013, and Legal Execution Coding brought under Obamacare. All right. Now, this ICD-9E978, and I'll show you where to find that again. All executions performed at the behest of the judiciary or ruling authority, whether permanent or temporary, as asphyxiation by gas, beheading, decapitation by guillotine. It's right there at number 2. So, you got electrocution, hanging, poisoning, shooting, which is basically what we have going on now, is with the lethal injection. Hanging too, but number 2 is death by guillotine. Okay, so that's pretty high up there. So, according to reports, more than 68,105 new medical codes are being added due to the Obamacare monstrosity. Okay, I go down a little further. These codes, and he goes on to say specifically that these codes were not created by Obamacare. However, Obamacare, or Affordable Health Care Act, is trying to implement every American citizen, this is key, trying to implement every American citizen under international, that means global codes, international codes, to link us to the international system. Alright? These codes were actually created by the W.H.O, World Health Organization. The W.H.O is a specialized agency of the United Nations. Okay, so it's important to know what the meaning of the codes are to grasp a better understanding of the importance and depth of this internal takeover that has been going on for many years right under our noses. The first ICD, International Classification of Diseases, was created in 1893, so quite a while ago. The WHO took control of clinical modifications in 1948. 1955, the WHO modified the ICD to track mortality rates. 1977, a ninth revision was published, aka ICD-9 medical codes, that are being used today within our medical system. And it goes on and goes on. But here's something key, and this is what we're going to have to pay attention to, is as of October 1st, 2014, the ICD-9 coding, which we have still right now, and I'll show it to you, will no longer be used. ICD-10 mandated. Mandated. It means mandatory. So if this death by guillotine thing pops up in ICD code 10, it is mandatory. Medical coding will add 68,105 codes. The ICD-10 PCS procedure code system has an additional 86,000 codes, totaling approximately 155,000 new medical codes for medical professionals. Okay, so what is this ICD-9 code? Well, you can go over here to icd9data.com. All right. And all you got to do is you go under legal intervention. Okay, I got the link provided for you already. Go under legal intervention. Click on E978. And it says no ICD-10 codes convert to ICD-9-CM E978. Sounds good, right? Well, gotta remember this. It doesn't transfer to ICD-10 till October 1st. All right. So, okay, there we go. 2013 ICD-9-CM diagnosis code. Okay, so let's go to 2014. See if we find something here. Okay, so this is the final revision to ICD-9-CM E978. Okay, beginning October 1st, 2014, using equivalent ICD-10-CM instead of E978. This applies to all executions performed at the behest of the judiciary or ruling authority, whether permanent or temporary, as asphyxiation by gas, beheading, decapitation by guillotine. So there you have it. Okay, this is not some crazy cooked up conspiracy theory. Okay, this is fact, and I showed you legitimate documented fact, as well as the alternative sources that I got this from. Okay, and they're trying to hide this out so you won't figure it out. But the fact of the matter is they are putting this stuff into action, and Obamacare is being fused in with the W.H.O, the World Health Organization. Okay, so this is not just a American thing. Okay, this is planned out to go global. All right, and I mean this is also foretold in Revelation 20:14 or 24. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So those that don't receive the mark, Rome's mark, or worships the beast or his image, they will be beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God. That's what it says, beheaded. Not asphyxiation by gas, not anything else, but it says beheaded. Okay, so hopefully this cleared this up. Truth be told, truth be known, stay safe, God bless. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching.